Hey everyone, welcome back to the Relationship Circle podcast. I'm your host, Beck Thompson, and this podcast is all about showing you how to stop running in circles, ditch those dating games, and let your inner compass lead the way. So today I'm diving into something that's been all over my DMs, my Instagram feed, my TikTok feed, and even in the wild world of dating apps, and that is therapy speak. You know the language, you're a red flag, I need to protect my energy, I can't date anyone who doesn't understand my boundaries. But here's the question. Is this therapy speak actually helping us connect, or is it giving us a new set of buzzwords to judge and reject each other? I don't know. Let's get into it. So first of all, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, what is therapy speak? So therapy speak is all of these psychological terms and phrases that used to just be in the therapy room, but now pop up in our daily lives, probably because of social media and especially in dating. Now, these are words like boundaries, gaslighting, trauma bonds, emotional labor, red flag, green flag, narcissist, holding space. I mean, when you open up TikTok or Instagram, you see it everywhere. And maybe it's just the way my algorithm is fed. And some people on their dating apps even have that they're trauma informed or they're healing their inner child in the dating profile. So where did it come from? Like, let's be real, therapy is way more mainstream now, which is such a great thing. And we're talking about mental health more. We're normalizing seeking help and we're sharing what we learn. So that's not a bad thing. I think that's a really fantastic thing that we should be celebrating. What has happened, though, is that social media has made this psychology pop culture everywhere. And suddenly everyone is an expert. And suddenly this therapy speak is everywhere, whether you go to therapy or not. And a lot of the time, people are not even aware of what they're saying. Narcissist is such a good example of this, because people talk about my ex is a narcissist, and the amount of people that tell me that their ex is a narcissist is wild. And I'm not here to, deny your experience of what happened in your relationship, but some people just aren't sure about what a narcissist is, or what if someone has narcissistic traits, or whether they're just not emotionally available. So look, I'm all for people knowing themselves better and having words to explain what they feel. We're seeing people set boundaries for the first time ever, which I'm a huge advocate for and something that I work with people on constantly. And there's less shame about talking things like anxiety or attachment styles. And people are really recognizing when something is truly unhealthy and they're empowered to leave situations that aren't good for them. That is huge progress. So that is majorly the upside of this. But the downside is, and where it gets a little bit sticky is, are we overusing these words? Are we using them as shortcuts, or worse, are we using them as weapons? Like going back to the narcissist thing. How many times have you heard he's a narcissist when maybe he's just emotionally unavailable or not interested? Or I have to protect my energy, which sometimes is just language for I don't want to talk to you anymore. So it's almost like this therapy speak has become a new way to ghost or reject someone, just with this fancier language. And there's a difference between calling out genuine toxic behavior and slapping a label on anyone who disappoints us. So sometimes we use these terms because they sound strong, or because we saw a TikTok about it and thought, yep, that's me. But are we actually pausing to ask, is this true? Is this helpful? Or am I hiding behind language instead of having a real conversation with people? Like, let's be honest, social media has made everybody a mini therapist. But TikTok and Instagram cannot diagnose your date. And sometimes we repeat these words like trauma bond or gaslighting without really knowing what they mean. And suddenly every little disappointment becomes a red flag when actually maybe it's just two people who aren't a good fit. And sometimes it's you pushing away the other person. So is therapy speak making dating worse? Well, I guess that is the big question to ask yourself and to be curious about. Again, I'm not posing that this language we're using is negative or positive, but again, let's get curious about why we're using it and whether we really understand what we're saying. Is all of this emotional language making us more compassionate or just more judgmental of people? Are we closing off from real connection because we're on the lookout for red flags everywhere? And are we giving up on people too quickly because we think, oh, they're just avoidant, that's definitely a deal breaker? And are we diagnosing people and dismissing them instead of just being curious and communicating? Because I see these labels being brought up very early on in dating, when I absolutely want you to trust your gut, but I want you to question it sometimes too. Because sometimes I think that when we're constantly having this stuff on our feed in social media, it feeds into our perception of what we think of people, and the judgment comes out really early on. So I actually want to hear from you. Like, have you used this therapy speak in dating? Have you had it used on you in dating? Have you ever used it to end things or to justify walking away from a relationship? And do you think it's made you braver, or has it just made you more guarded? So send me a DM, drop me a voice note, or vote in my Instagram stories. I'd love to know what you think. And here's my takeaway from it all. Emotional language is really powerful, and understanding yourself is gold. It is magic. But not everyone who isn't right for you is a narcissist, and not everyone who isn't right for you has a million walking red flags. Not everyone who disappoints you is toxic. Sometimes they're just not a match for you, and that's okay. We don't have to diagnose them to make everything okay. We don't need a label for everything. And it's okay to just say, this is not working for me. I don't feel a connection with you. That's totally fine. So next time you kind of catch yourself reaching for these therapy terms, just pause and ask yourself, am I using this as a shield, or am I genuinely reflecting? Am I closing off to people, or am I open to having a real, honest conversation? So that's it for today. Short and quick, but I just want to know if we're healing or whether we're just hiding behind these terms because they're convenient and also useful for us. Like, let me know what you think. I genuinely want to hear your stories, your opinions, and even your disagreements. If you found this episode helpful or thought-provoking, please share it with people, tag me, and let's keep this conversation going and honest. See you next time.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. If you got value from this, please don't hesitate to share with a friend so they can get value from this too. And don't forget to hit follow so you don't miss an episode. It's also how I keep this podcast alive.
Audience exclusive.